Hi and welcome. I love this week's topic. It is about word literalness and how that can play out in different areas of life, both in business and in personal life. So I'm Georgina. We're going to dive in. What I'm calling it is the right word vice effect. So this is a particular set of extreme emotions that is not an exact right response. It's not totally logical. But it is definitely believed, perceived, and played out 100% for some people that are wired differently, different thinkers. Recently, in the last couple of months, I have seen this more and more with clients, but this example was so great. A founder had a situation where a fairly large mistake was made in production at their manufacturing plant. And the supervisor that was part of that, once it was identified, situations were started to, corrections were made and so forth, that supervisor never specifically pulled this founder aside and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I really screwed up there. I won't let that happen again." And for whatever reason, when my client came in that day, they were just hot, angry, upset, frustrated. They're like, "Listen, the thing we need to talk about is how am I going to discipline this supervisor? He screwed up. He did not take any ownership for it. I think, I don't know if he belongs here. I definitely want to write him up on a disciplinary manner." And so hearing what the founder said, I thought, oh my goodness, like this person really screwed up and really tried to pretend like it didn't happen. So I asked a few more questions. We looked at it from a variety of angles. Did they clean up the mess? Well, yes. Did they contact the customer and clean it up with them? Well, yes. Did they work with the staff and make sure that things got corrected and that they would not happen in the future? Well, yes. And as we went through that, I'm like, what more do you, those are all of the actions of someone who has made a mistake, is apologizing, is aware that they made a mistake, and is sympathetic to that. I said, those are all the actions. But you're right. It sounds like they never said the words. And they said that was it entirely. Without them saying the words, without them being specific, none of their actions mattered. This person, the anger was so blinding, they could not see past that and see that all of the actions had been done. I'm not saying either of them was right or wrong. I was just merely pointing out to the client, hey, you seem fixated on a group of words needing to be stated. And without that, there's no forgiveness. There's no there's no moving forward. You need and must write this disciplinary action for you. It's like you're stuck in a loop, and it's a vice practically. It's just squeezing you tighter and tighter, and you're becoming more and more emotional and energized by it. And the power of Zoom, the look on their whole body relaxed. They moved, they sat back like this and they relaxed, and it was very clear that what I had said had hit them. And they pointed out, they're like, "You're right. I'm waiting for those specific words only." And I pointed out to them that might be a little challenging in communicating and leading a group of people, because not everybody communicates the same. And trust me, just in that second, it was a 180-degree turn. They felt no extreme need to write up the disciplinary things, and instead just recognized they needed to pull that person aside and just have a conversation, and even ask them if they would just be able to say they were sorry and this wouldn't happen again. And literally 2 days later, that is what they did. And then they texted me and said, "Oh my gosh, the level of relief I felt in that person just saying those few words was unbelievable." And they realized there had been many situations in their life where they had gotten stuck on that literal wording, and that wording not coming in just right, and thereby not moving forward with business decisions, not leaving relationships when they should, not possibly asking questions where they should, because the answers that came back were not worded in the way that unlocked their system. And this is common. This is actually not so much common. I see this throughout dyslexia. I see this throughout autism, and I see this throughout people with ADHD. So it's a neurodiverse trait, and I'd not seen it documented or even named per se. And there's one of the things. I'm one of those people. I can take things very literally, and so a big reason I find words for labels and names for things and come to you with that is to help you have the literal words and say, oh, that's exactly what, oh my gosh, I do that thing. I understand that. Because what happens for us, I have this effect quite often. Once I name it, once it has a name and some understanding behind it, all of a sudden now I can be aware of it. I can catch that trait and behavior and not allow it to be something that interferes with my life, that prevents me from having the robust, successful, incredible life that I'm living, and instead be an enhancer. I can catch it early on and be like, oh, are these feelings possibly because I'm waiting for an exact definition, I'm waiting for an exact set of words from somebody. As soon as I do that, I'm able to step back and go, you know what? I don't need that. I'm okay. I can see this clearly for what it is. Extremely helpful in moving forward, because there's nothing worse than being stuck in a vice, waiting for someone else to release that pressure valve. That's frustrating. Now you can do that yourself. You can start to identify this possibly happening in your life, or maybe you know somebody and you want to share this video so they can also learn a little bit more about the right word vice effect. Another way I'm also phrasing it, just to help people and to give a little variety to it in a more direct terminology, I'm also calling it the lexical lock and key effect, meaning without just the right word, you are not able to unlock that lock and you are a bit stuck. And I have literally had clients who'd been stuck in a thought loop about that for years, particularly it was a family circumstance, and it went on for years about something that was not stated. And nobody realized it was all just locked down by a few words that someone just needed to hear. And that transformed the whole thing. And once they understood it, they actually provided it. And the family moved forward. It was pretty incredible overall to hear that replay. So, in a recap, we're talking about same thing, lexical lock and key effect or right word vice effect. Either way, getting locked in on a literal need, a need for a literal set of words to be stated to move forward. I'm Georgina, unconventional leadership coach. If you've loved this, please subscribe to see my other videos. Please go read the entire article. I'm far more in depth about the research that I did in coming to this and being able to state this is in all many of the buckets that are under the neurodiversity label, that this exists within the young professionals I work with. This exists within the seniors and executives I work with. This doesn't discriminate in any way. Once it's in the spicy, different thinker bucket, it definitely lives within all of that. So I'm Georgina. Thanks for stopping by, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.